Yo, party people in the place to be. What's good? It's the number one Chief Rocker in Knicks universe. Your main man's Uncle Freezy. What's good? What's good? What's good? Welcome to the neighborhood. All right. I see y'all out there. JJ, I see you. Wiz, I see you out there. King Emmett in the building. Travel Vibes is in the building. Cover the spread. Bronx Kicks for Life is in the building. Pudge Nice, I see you out here. The son of the legend, Kerry Cox, is in the building. King Emmett. King Ribby is in the building, ladies and gentlemen. Fozzie, what's good? JJ in the building. Salute to all my peoples in the BK. Salute to all my people in the BX. Bronx River. My Bronx River family. Y'all know the vibes. You feel me? Queens, get the money. Staten Island, I see you. I see all of y'all. I see everybody everywhere, all the way from Mount Vernon, New Rochelle, Jersey City, Hempstead, Central Islip. I see all of y'all. What's good? Welcome to the neighborhood. I'm joined by somebody that really don't even need an introduction. It'll almost be like disrespectful to feel like I need to introduce her. But since we're doing the audio podcast, let me tell you all the places you can find her first, because it's crazy. It is crazy. She is like the Nike of Knicks universe. She's like the Mercedes-Benz of Knicks universe, right? So you can find her on Nothing But Knicks. That's the mothership, our mothership. Y'all know we started out, a lot of us started out at Nothing But Knicks with Sim Russell. Y'all can find her there, Queens Court. You can find her doing on her own channel, Dope Soul Sports Talk. You could find her on audio podcasts, the Just Nicking It podcast, hosted by Queen BK. Let me bring in one of the most talented people in Knicks universe, and what I like to think of as a friend. BK Steph is in the building. Put some fire in the chat for BK Steph. What's up, boss? How you doing?
Wow, that you are so kind. That is probably the best introduction I've ever gotten. Shout out to you, Freezy. Appreciate you. Shout out to those in the chat as well.
Yeah, man. Yeah, boss. Yeah, boss. Listen, I get super hype about certain collabs. Like these I legit look forward to, right? So I look forward to certain collabs. I'm like, yo, when I collab with certain people, they'll stretch you mentally, like make you think about what you're about to say, as opposed to saying, yo, Tom Thibodeau rotations. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Some people, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you legit get in the group, man, and it's like, yo, all they want to do is talk about, Randle body language, or whatever it is,
Right.
So certain collabs, man, I feel like I gotta step my game up. I gotta, you know what I'm saying? I gotta brush my hair for this one. You know what I'm saying? I gotta get, you know what I'm saying?
I was getting ready too, Freezy. I was talking to myself, getting in this mental space, because you never know what Freezy gonna throw out there. So I'm ready.
Because I'm a thinker, and for y'all listen, for those that know me and know my routine, y'all know I'm basically behind this computer about 16, 17 hours a day, working on multiple things. Got some work projects, personal projects, Lawrence tears, a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm here. You know what I'm saying? So what it is while I'm going through all this stuff, I'm like, I'm isolated. It's just me and the fish tank over there, and the dogs are in the other room breaking up our furniture. Y'all know the vibes if you're a pet owner, right? They breaking toys or putting them right by your foot so you can step on them accidentally. Y'all know the vibes or whatever, right? So I'm always thinking Knicks and Queen Bee. As I'm thinking Knicks right now, I have a lot of varied and complicated thoughts on the organization, the coaching staff, the players, and the schemes. And I'm
Yep.
almost ready. I'm almost ready. And mind you, I'm saying this is complicated, right? I'm almost ready to say, to hell with all this defense, man. We got to get modern and get some. I watched the Heat and the Celtics last night, and all I can think is, "Don't wake me, I'm dreaming." Chat, does that sound familiar to y'all? Don't wake me, I'm dreaming. When I watched some of those offensive sets last night, I was like, "Oh, don't wake me, I'm dreaming. I'm dreaming." You know what I mean? I'm like watching complicated backside actions, and shooters are showing one location but relocating to another spot based on the defense's weaknesses. Nobody is static. People are throwing complicated passes with either hand. And I'm like, what have I been watching for 82 games? It's like, you know how you go to the 5-star restaurant across town and then you come back home and you're like, well, they portion wasn't really that big, so I'm gonna go in here and fix me a ham sandwich. And you look at the ham sandwich and you think about that 5-star restaurant and you look at that ham sandwich, you're like, what kind of life am I living? Yeah. Queen Bee, I'm thinking about sacrificing some of this defense for some offense. What about you?
I don't know if we have to. I think unless you feel like when we bring in some shooters or some offensive players that it's kind of hard to get adequate defensive players in that same body. So if that's what you're thinking, you might be right. You know,
Right.
it's kind of hard to come across two-way players. I saw the game last night as well.
Right.
And I did take note of how much points Miami put up on Boston that they weren't able to put up on us. I'm just saying though, but we still home though.
Right.
Um,
We at
we
home.
Well, we still home though, no doubt about it. Listen, yes, I think we can change our schemes. We can do backdoor actions. We can do a whole lot of things, but at the end of the day, we got to get players that can hit shots. That's it. We need players that can hit shots. So if that's what you mean, we need to start trading out some of these players for proven players that we know is going to score the ball and shoot the ball. I'm all with it. I'm not saying schemes aren't important. I think they are, but you got to have the players that can work the schemes.
I'm in the mindset that you have to work backwards from that theory that you mentioned. Right? I think for the most part, the players are here. You just have to use them the right way. Right? Like I think Grimes is a shooter. But if used the right way, you can get the fullness of his offensive game. Right? But if it's like Quickly, I think Quickly can be in last night game. I was thinking like Quickly on Boston or Miami goes for 20 last night in this game that I saw last night. But on our roster, Quickly against those two teams is 8 points on 2 of 11 shooting. You know what I'm saying? I think it's Tibbs. I think it's Tibbs. Basic offense. I think Tibbs is when you come back from the 5-star restaurant across town, when you look across on the other table, and they have the oven roasted crackers and the caviar and the stand-up bowl, and the guy is coming refilling their champagne, and we come home and eat a Lunchable. That's Tibbs.
Yeah, I disagree. I disagree. Listen, I think the criticism on Tibbs is fair. I think the criticism on his offense is fair as well.
Right.
But I'm not a believer that an offensive scheme is going to make you a better player. Will it get you better shots? Can it get you easier shots? Absolutely, it can. But the Knicks had easy shots.
Right.
Miami was packing it in the paint.
Right.
The Knicks had easy shots. There is no, and that's the purpose of an offense: generate looks, generate shots. And the Knicks had that. So, okay, you want to put in another scheme, you want backdoor cuts, you want a motion offense. It's going to do the same thing. Generate looks. Can you knock it down? And the Knicks just have not been able to do that. We're not a good shooting team. Listen, I'm not arguing about Tibbs' offensive sets. The only thing I'm saying is a set is not going to make you knock it down. It's just going to give you those open shots.
Let me parse the participle on it. Let me break down like some of them phrases. Right. Here's the thing. I understand where you're coming from with certain looks, right? Tibbs' offense does generate certain 3-point shots, right? But when's the last time you saw one of our power forwards catch a lob in the half-court set?
Who's getting a lob? You talk about Mitchell Robinson?
No, one of our fours, one of our power forwards catch a lob in the half-court set.
I haven't seen it a lot.
Right. When have you seen our guards catch the ball in motion baseline with layups going to the basket? You don't see that. Now if it's just the jump shot aspect off of a double team where Brunson gets smothered by Diva, he kick it out to somebody and then Josh Hart shoots a jump shot.
So you want an offense that generates. I mean, I'm with you. I do think we can get. I would like to see more lobs for Obi Toppin, more lobs from, for Mitchell Robinson,
and for Randle.
I don't think Randle is somebody that's finishing over the top, but over the top of a defense. But I hear you in terms of getting easier shots. I don't think that would have worked against Miami though, because they made a concerted effort that they was packing the key. And if you're going to beat them, you're going to beat them from the outside.
Right.
So yeah.
We played right into their hands
because we didn't have the players otherwise. If we had players who could shoot those open looks that we were getting, the middle would have opened up.
But Queen Bee, here's the thing though. If you have the players that are threats from out there, Miami wouldn't have gave it to us.
But they would have had to pick their poison, though.
Yeah, they'd have had to pick.
They would have had to pick their poison.
They'd had to pick between Reggie Miller and Mitchell Robinson in the paint.
I don't know about Mitchell Robinson, but they would have.
Yeah,
had to pick between guarding the 3-point line and leaving the middle open more for Julius Randle and Brunson. Though for Brunson, it don't matter. He can get his anyway, it seems like. But there would have been a bit more space for Randle to operate. But listen, only thing I'm saying, I'm not arguing with the offensive sets, but I'm arguing with the premise that that's the reason why we didn't move on, because of our offensive sets and not because of players not hitting shots and performing.
Right. Yeah, I think I'm on one on that. And I know I have a complicated feeling on that, because I want in that game 6 elimination, the Knicks took 71 shots. That still boggles my mind. In the NBA, where Miami is a slow-paced team and they only take 82 shots, we took 71. That's on Tibbs, where you can't generate offense. That's on Tibbs right there.
But that's about pace. And remember, a lot of our shots that we get is off second chance opportunities. Points off turnovers. Well, I wouldn't say for the regular season, but definitely in the Cleveland season series, points off turnovers. If they're keeping you off the boards, then you're not getting those second chance opportunities. You're not getting those shots. That's a big part of our offense. Yeah. Second chance opportunities. Miami cut that out. Yeah. So you're not going to get in enough shot. They cut out fast break transition points. You're not going to get that. So where are your shots coming from? You want to push the pace? You can push the pace, but you got to get stops.
Right.
If you're always taking the ball out the basket, you're not going to be able to push the pace. So where are these 80-something shots coming from for the Knicks if you're not getting fast break points, if you're not getting stops, and if you're not getting second chance points? Where are they coming from?
I know. I want to. So I got a two-parter to that.
Okay.
So for one, if your basic vanilla offense can be schemed out by a coach, that's a problem. And two, if you're depending on offensive rebounds as offense, that's a problem. You have either too many defenders and not enough offensive players, or your coach doesn't value the offensive side of the floor. And I think it's that Tom Thibodeau doesn't value the offensive side of. I think he is Rex Ryan or Buddy Ryan. I think he's all defense, no offense. I think he don't even care about offense.
I disagree, Freezy. We were the third-ranked offensive team in the league. We were the 19th ranked defensive team.
Right.
And when you heard Thibodeau talk this year, he said the most important rating is your net rating. What's the difference between your offense and your defense? This roster was flawed.
Right.
We were 19th in field goal percentage. We were 20th in field goal percentage, 19th in 3-point percentage, and 22nd or whatever in free throw percentage. So when you look at that roster, you know you don't have the shooters. How are you going to score? You got to create an offense that's going to help this particular roster score.
Exactly. That's what I was saying.
Okay. Second chance opportunity, second chance point. Who are the shooters on this team? So the roster, in my opinion, got exposed in the playoffs more so than Tibbs.
Okay. All right. I can compromise with you there. But the one thing that you said about Tom Thibodeau, that's a rock in my shoe. Because every coach is going to do the coach speak thing. Every coach is going to point out the good things that they've done and not talk about the bad things that they've done in a press conference in front of everybody so that they can get picked half to death. That's one of them things. When Tibbs says that, I'm like, nah, bro. I watched. I'm not just a casual fan. Like, I'm just not that. I know that you're not running backside actions on your pick and roll where the defense can just load up on the ball handler. I know you're not passing the ball to the roll man. And not everybody, but occasionally during the course of the year, you'd hear people that know basketball point. I heard JJ Redick pointed out, and I laughed. I was like, even JJ Redick know what we dealing with. When Monica McNutt said,
It's both. People want to load up on Tibbs. It's both. It's always an interplay. And y'all check out Monday when I drop my podcast on this. But I'm going to give you a little bit of something today.
Hey, this is the Just Nicking It podcast, right?
The Just Nicking It audio podcast. There's always an interplay between scheme and players. There's always an interplay. You can have great players. You don't even need much of a scheme, right? And you can have schemes that can get a mediocre team some better looks, right? So I agree with you. There's always an interplay between the two, but it's not always scheme and it's not always players. It's the interplay between the two, right? So I don't care what offense, and would I like to see some different things offensively? Yes. The point I'm trying to make is I think we're overplaying the schemes. We're overplaying it. The thoughts that if the schemes was just better, we would have been in the Eastern Conference Finals. If the schemes was just, I'm not saying it's not an issue. I'm not saying it can't improve. I just feel like we're overplaying that aspect of it. That's all I'm saying. Randle didn't show up in these playoffs the way we would have liked him to. In that 6th game, 1 for 10, 3 for 14, 1 for 7 for Grant. There's no way you scheming out of that. Does it need to get better? Absolutely. But this roster needs to get better as well. I just feel like we putting too much on Tibbs. Like, first of all, this roster exceeded expectations. This team exceeded expectation. And there's still cats out here. Oh, we need to fire Tibbs. He exceeded expectations, but next year he might not be able to because of the schemes. All right, then fire him next year. Teams are firing coaches because they're not meeting expectations. We want to fire our coach because he exceeded expectations. Come on now. Now, next season, if we don't make the playoffs or we lose in the first round, Tibbs is out of here.
I'm gonna say it like this, just real quick. I feel you on your passion about Tibbs and how far he got us. And I like Tibbs, right? But that Punch and Judy offense he running, that got to go. Okay. And if he's stuck with it, and him and his Punch and Judy offense, if he say no, I ain't changing nothing, he got to get out of here. Because it's 2023. And to watch a 2-man offense attack 5 defenders is whack. You forcing too much, because what's happening is you're forcing that. You're putting too much pressure on one guy, say a Randle or an RJ, and they are taking the brunt of the fans' ire because a coach can't generate a 2023 man, the Sacramento Kings,
the Sacramento Kings didn't show up. That's it.
Right. They didn't show up because of what they running.
No, come on.
Oh, okay. So now you're telling me that Julius Randle and RJ Barrett run their own offense?
What I'm trying to say is they've been running that same offense all season.
Right.
Right? You don't show up, now it's the offense. Come on. Let's stop. I'm not making any excuses for any of these players. You get the shot you get in the same offense you've been running, knock them down. Period. Okay. Now, overall, you're right. You're right. But let me ask you a question. Why is it that there's been some games where we see beautiful ball movement and player movement, and other games in which we don't, and it's the same offense? What's the difference?
It's because during the season, you play different levels of competition. Of course, we looked great against the Houston Rockets. Of course, Emmanuel quickly gonna go for 40 against the Houston Rockets. They're trash.
I'm not talking about those teams. I'm talking about the entire season. The entire season, we've seen times in which the Knicks have moved the ball, in which they did. So, first of all, or second of all, if you got good ISO players, they have to have times in which they go ISO. They have to, because if you don't do that, you're playing to the other team's strengths.
Okay.
But I agree with you. I don't think that's something we need to do all the time. And there have been times in the season with this same offense where we've been able to move the ball. The Knicks Brunson and Randle get stuck in their ways sometimes and feel like they can do it on their own, and they don't run the offense. And they have to get better at that. And if you want to change the offensive sets, Freezy, I'm not mad at that. I'm okay with that. Right. The only point I'm trying to make is offensive sets may get you good looks, even better looks. You got to knock them down. The Knicks individual players in these playoffs disappeared on Tom Thibodeau, and people are trying to say, "Oh, it was because of the sets in which they disappeared." Nah, they weren't.
Yes,
we just agree to disagree. Reasonable people disagree all the time. That's what you tell me, right?
I don't want to disagree with you. I want you to leave that camp that you're in and step over to the bad side.
I'm not leaving it, but I agree with you. Listen, we can get better. I'm not disagreeing with. We can run different sets to take advantage of different things. We can run different sets to get Mitchell Robinson and Obi Toppin over the top. We can do different things. I'm not arguing with that. Moving the ball more, I'm not arguing with that. What I'm arguing with is the sentiment that we lost because of Tibbs' offense. And we put in too much of it on Tibbs and not enough of it on the players. There is an interplay because, look, you get Tibbs shooters, you get him dogs, we in the Eastern Conference Finals with them same schemes. With those same schemes.
Queen B, and I would say this. I would say this. You get any coach that talent, and they get to the same place.
What talent, Freezy? These guys didn't show up.
No. Listen. Hear me out. the talent that you just mentioned, if you get any coach, that upper level talent that you mentioned, they can get us to the same place.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. All right. I mean, that's fair.
Right. My thing is, we say a lot of things about Tibbs. Like we're talking about the offensive rating. Tibbs threw that out there, and I laughed, right? Because when he said it, I knew at the moment he said it that the Knicks were 22nd in the NBA in field goal percentage. Right.
He said
and at the time he said it, the Knicks were 24th in the NBA in 3-point shooting. Right. I knew it, but I knew that those numbers were inflated because at the time he mentioned it, the Knicks were getting up a lot of shots per game. Right. So it wasn't that it wasn't, huh?
We talking about two different things because the comment I'm talking about was the net rating, not the offensive rating. So you must talk about it different.
No, I get it. I'm getting to that point though. I know that the net rating is the difference between the offensive and defensive rating. I know that. That's what I'm getting.
That was the comment he made. I know.
No, I know that. That's why I said when he made the comment, I was laughing. That's what I'm referring to. Like when he made the comment, I laughed, right? Because I knew the defense started off bad and gradually got better towards the end of the season, even though they went through peaks and valleys trying to find out what defensive set worked, which defensive groups worked and which ones didn't. The offense, when he said that, man, he was like, yeah, because in the same conference, in the same press conference, he also said, I get a bad rap for being called a defensive coach. I like offense too. When he said that, I laughed because I know you don't. Tom Thibodeau, you don't like offense, bro. You don't get no bad rap for liking defense. For just liking defense. You know what I'm saying? No, you said that. You said Tom Thibodeau said with a straight face that the offense was blah, 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 but the team as a whole was shooting 47% from the floor for the season. Now, here are the outliers, right? The bad teams, the teams that are in the lottery, right? The teams that you saw last night, all of them, the teams that you saw last night, the Orlandos, the Indianas, the OKCs, the San Antonios, the Torontos, the Houstons, the Charlottes, the Detroits are in the same offensive class as us. And I think Miami is in that group, and I think Phoenix may be in that group also, right? Just to be fair, full disclosure, right? When Tibbs said that, I was like, come on, bro. Tibbs act like he's the only person with internet. Tom Thibodeau, you are not the only person.
I don't get your point, though. So what are you trying to say about his comment?
The point about the comment he made about the offense in our net rating is the reason why we are there is because we provided a unsustainable means of being there. That's like paying your bills because you played the lottery. You know what I'm saying? That's unsustainable. You can't.
But why is it
offensive rebounding and putbacks can't be the reason why your net rating is so high.
Okay, and I agree with you. But why did he put that system in place? Because you got a Mitchell Robinson who can't score.
Right.
You got a RJ Barrett who can't shoot.
Right.
We're talking about the regular season. So as a coach and other pieces as well, you sit down and you be like, damn, how are we going to score? We don't really have bona fide shooters on this team. How are we going to score? And you figure out a way to put points on the board and to become the offensive team that we became. This roster is flawed. Bottom line. And we're spending a lot of time on Tibbs because this is the sentiment in the Knicks community. We're disappointed we didn't go to the Eastern Conference Finals, and it's because of Tibbs and his offensive schemes. And none of us want to talk about Randle. None of us want to talk about IQ. None of us want to talk about the Game 6 where our shooters, we lost by 4 points.
Right. And it wasn't even in the margin, it wasn't even that big. Late in the game, it was like a 2-point game.
Right. When Brunson turned it over, which I didn't see, by the way, because I'm streaming the game and my internet buffered at the time. So when it came back on a minute later, I didn't even
They
know
out there shaking
made
hands.
that critical turnover until like 2 days later when I saw it on Twitter. I was like, yo.
Oh my God.
The only point I'm trying to make is I believe you can win with Tibbs if you get him the players. And I get it. Some of you don't believe we can win with Tibbs because of in-game adjustments and because of the basic offensive schemes. Let's see what he does when we get the shooters that and the players that we should get this offseason. Let's see what happens. Because if we come back with this same team, we're not going to get as far. Teams ain't staying pat waiting for this Knicks team to grow like a vegetable garden. Like they're just not.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're just wishing on a star.
We might be. He might be gone, Freezy. It's a results-based league. We see that. Budenhauser gone.
Right.
Monty Williams, Doc Rivers. If he doesn't produce next year, he's gone. But I'm going to tell you this. Everybody we clamoring for, when they become the head coach and they come under the same microscope that we got Tibbs under, and we're seeing them possession after possession after possession, we're going to see their faults as well. May not be the same faults Tibbs had, but we're going to see their faults as well because every coach has them.
Right. Right. So basically what I heard from that is we judge everybody fairly because you said same microscope, right?
Right.
Right. So everybody
we
be
don't have
everybody
those guys
be
under
fairly.
the same microscope. We're just seeing them, Nick Nurse and Doc Rivers. We're just seeing the success they're having on other teams, and we want them here. They're better than Tibbs because they were able to do this with Kawhi Leonard and Joel Embiid and all these guys.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, that's not the conversation.
People are overvaluing that, but that's fine. Once we get these coaches that you guys think are better in here, and you see them game in and game out, possession in and possession out, you're going to see their flaws as well. Right. It may be different than Tibbs, but every coach has them. How can you put a roster together that minimizes it? That's all I'm saying. You're going to find that with every coach.
Right. That's not the thing that I'm pointing out specifically. I'm pointing out a specific thing with Tibbs, right? I understand every coach has flaws. And I understand that coaches get better results as they have better players. And some coaches make their players better or put their players in better positions to win, right? I get that part. What I'm pointing out is the offense specifically, right?
Freezy, I get you. Okay, I'm not arguing. Okay, I'm arguing with the fact that a scheme will make everybody better.
Because think about what I'm asking. Think about what I'm asking. I feel like I'm asking for something reasonable. I'm not. This to me, I don't think it's far fetched. I'm asking people that have seen Tom Thibodeau over the years. I'm asking you. You've seen Tom Thibodeau over the years. You see who he is. If you expect Tom Thibodeau to change or to do better with better players, then I think you are mistaken. Right? Because we saw Tom Thibodeau with good offensive players and still value defense over everything. We saw Tom Thibodeau with number 1 picks at every stop, except here, of course. Right? And he still value this system that he runs. He's not, this is who he is.
Okay, we'll see. We shall see.
Right.
Let's see what we shall see. And I don't understand how we value in defense when we were the 19th ranked defense.
Yeah. That's another topic too, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It took our players heroic efforts despite the coach to get here, in my opinion. I think it took heroic effort. I think it took some heroic Jalen Brunson nights to get us here. It took us some heroic Julius Randle nights to get us here. And listen, if they can sustain that, then they're superstars. Right? But if they can't sustain that, then they're just stars and they need help.
They do need help.
Right.
I ain't
Right.
even putting Randall in that category. But anyway, they need help. They
Right.
do need help.
I,
There's no, they're not going to be able to do it without players around them. And I
Right.
still think we're discounting the fact how players just fell off in the playoffs.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. If we're gonna be critical of the players, then let's be. I would rather be be critical of the entire team, the coaches, front office, and players. Right?
Yes, but we
They
spending
were
a lot of time on Tibbs, though. Not a lot of time
because
on the others.
Because I couldn't get there. I was trying to get to
All
a
right.
place like
Right. Let's
when
get
you
there.
said
Let's
when you said that we needed shooters on the floor immediately, I thought, this organization was paying a dude $18 million a year to shoot, and the coach wouldn't play him.
Yeah, but see, now we're doing revisionist history. When he was on the floor, most of the fan base was calling for him to be off the floor and let Grimes start, and he shouldn't even be in the rotation.
Right.
And the Knicks did take off once he made that change. I mean, come on now. Come on.
Facts. Right. Facts. As soon as Tibbs went to that, the Knicks won 9 games in a row, taking Cam Reddish and Evan Fournier out of this thing and just us rocking and rolling with that, with defense during the regular season in December. Right?
Yeah.
But we were talking about against the Miami Heat in the playoffs in April or May. I think there's something to be said about using everything at your disposal if your season is at risk. Like that last game, that last play.
I would have used Fournier.
Huh?
I would have used Fournier.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
A lot of Knicks fans though wasn't for that.
Yeah, I mean, I just think if you're ready to go out, if your season is on the line, I think you gotta
go out swinging.
And yeah, that last play of the season that you missed because of the cable company, the Illuminati not wanting you to see the end of the game.
But Brunson should have made that pass to Hart though. But I get it, it's Hart. But I still would have made. I think he would have knocked it down. He still should have made that pass.
First of all, why is Josh Hart on the floor when you need a shooter? Right?
Yeah.
That right
Grimes
there
was on the floor though, but he should have been in that spot. Grimes was on the floor.
But that's the thing. I'm getting to, right? If you have Fournier in the game there, now you have a offensive player that knows what to do in that scenario. Because as opposed to being an energy guy that thrives in transition, you have a half-court guy that thrives in creating his own, thrives in his own shot.
Yeah, I think it's revisionist history because I think had we put Fournier in and he shot an air ball, everybody would have been like, yo, what Tibbs doing? Just bringing this guy in. He didn't play all season. You're going to bring him in. And he barely grazed the side of the rim.
Right. I get that part. But what I'm saying, though, is in that last play, Josh Hart is legit 22, 23 feet away from Jalen Brunson, expecting Jalen Brunson to make an on-time, on-target pass to him behind the three-point line when all you needed was a two-pointer to tie the game and send it to overtime. These situational things, your situational awareness has to be on point in these moments when it's do or die. These are the type of things that I'm talking about.
But that was a mistake by you don't think that was a mistake by Brunson?
Or dribbling and getting trapped?
Yeah.
But listen, even in the mistake though, even if you make the mistake, you don't want to compound the mistake, right? And a lot of times when we make mistakes, we need help. Like I've made mistakes in my life where I needed somebody to help me out of the situation, help bail me out, right? And I know this is basketball, but Josh Hart there hiding behind a defense. Josh Hart is wide open, right? But Jalen Brunson can't see him. You know why? Because Josh Hart didn't slide down so that Jalen Brunson can see him and have an outlet to pass it to him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? These are the things like if Fournier is there, Fournier knows this. You know what I'm saying? So
he hasn't played in like
But you don't forget how to play, though. Now, he might not have executed, but you don't forget how to play, though, Queen B.
Yeah, no, I get you. I'm not killing him for the Fournier thing, but I would have liked to have seen Fournier.
Right. And so the thing is ultimately in that situation there, that's a one-off situation that we can nitpick half to death. I already did it. I already put the play up on the screen and nitpicked it half to death the other day, right? In that situation, why are three guys on the backside of the offense, right? And Jalen Brunson needs somebody to pass it to, and then Brunson has to force a pass to Randle because he can't see anybody else, right? That's the other three guys on the floor fault. They didn't make themselves open for Brunson to see them, right? But is how we enter the offseason, right? Is how we enter the offseason. But at the same time, it still doesn't discount the fact that we only got up 71 shots. 71.
And how is that Tibbs' fault?
Tibbs' offense is whack.
Freezy, but what about the times when we got up 80 and 90 shots with the same offense?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move off of Tibbs because there's some other. We're gonna stay on Tibbs. People are gonna stay on Tibbs all season. This team exceeded expectation. With the offense we had, we were still 2 games away from the Eastern Conference Finals.
Right.
Players knocked down a few shots. We're not even having this conversation.
Yeah, if Tibbs
not
put
even
them in
having this
position,
conversation.
if Tibbs put them in position, we wouldn't even be having. We should be
Tibbs
playing the
put them in
Boston Celtics.
position.
Right?
Stop.
Yeah. I don't see that.
Miami just beat Boston in Boston. People, listen, Miami was a good team. People are hung up on the fact that they were the 8th seed. Miami was a good team, and they beat a Knicks team that wasn't ready. Period, point blank, with multiple players who did not show up in that series the way we needed them to. And that's it. If you want to put some of the blame on Tibbs, absolutely, you can. But right. You knocked down 3 more shots, we in game 7. And we're not even talking about Tibbs.
It's tough though. I just don't want to blame the players.
Yeah, I see that.
Not completely. I don't want to completely blame the players.
I don't know why. You got to show up. Brunson showed up. RJ Barrett found the way to show up. Why couldn't Randle and IQ show up?
Brunson showed up offensively.
He showed up the way he usually show up. He took it to another. No. Stop it, Freezy. We already know he's not a good defensive player. So let's stop now raising the bar and saying, oh, he don't usually play defense. That's not what he does.
Right.
But everything that he does do, he gave us that.
He great at
more.
It. Yeah.
And more.
Right.
Okay. But so people trying to talk about his defense now as if his defense fell off. His defense was never great. We knew that. So he showed up the way he usually showed up and more.
Right.
Other guys on this team didn't even give us what they usually give us during the regular season.
See, this is where you wrong, Queen B. This is where you absolutely wrong, and you stubborn in your wrongness right now.
I'm not
because RJ.
Who you want to make an excuse for?
Because RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley and Quentin Grimes' defense this series against Miami was excellent.
Crazy, I'm not talking. Oh, yes, it was.
It was excellent.
Yes, it was.
They stepped their game up defensively.
Okay.
To say they didn't show up.
They did.
That's not fair.
They did. I'm talking about their entire game, what we got from them in the regular season.
So we're talking entire game about them, but we're not talking about entire game for Brunson.
Entire game for Brunson as well. He don't usually show up defensively.
Right.
So there was nothing different. I'm talking about whatever you gave us in the regular season.
Okay.
Give us that in the playoffs. And if you can step it up a notch, that's great.
Okay.
Brunson gave us what he usually gives us in the regular. He don't give us defense. And he stepped it up. Quickly did not give us what he usually gives us in the regular season. Okay, fine. You want to say he stepped up one aspect of his game? Fine. Defensively, fine. And that wasn't always consistent either, but okay, fine. I'll give you that. Grimes was stellar in game 5 playing Butler. He was okay in game 6. Let's call it what it is.
Let's call it what it is. 3 of 10 guarding Jimmy Butler.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that's average defense for some people because we have lofty expectations. But Jimmy Butler was 3 for 10 when Grimes was guarding him.
All right. Okay. I'll give him that. But the rest of the stuff, Grimes, and I'm going to give Grimes a pass. He hasn't even played 2 years worth of basketball. But if you're going to look at this team and say they showed up the way you needed them to show up, and if they did, and you're going to put that on Tom Thibodeau and his schemes, no. Yeah. It's okay if you don't show up. You just got to be better.
These kids, in my opinion, these kids, Grimes, quickly, RJ, they stepped up and played a brand of defense that we hadn't seen them play in their career.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Now with that said, did the offense suffer? Did the offense suffer? Yeah, their offense suffered. Right. Right. But these are young players. We're talking about dudes that are 22 years old with limited playoff experience. Right. Brunson shot the ball exceptionally well.
Freezy, you're trying to take something away from Brunson, and I don't know, because you're trying to hold on to the Randle mantle. Maybe it is.
No.
It's not just the scoring. They were doing whatever they could to throw him off, and they could not. They was throwing the kitchen sink at this kid, and they could not throw him off his stride. He was bringing the ball up like a high school. We looked like a high school team with him bringing the ball up the court. We had nobody else that could take pressure on a box and one, and everybody else just go. I mean, come on. I'm not taking anything away from Brunson, and people are trying to, it was just the scoring. It was everything he does, not turning the ball over, the leadership, the intangibles, making big shots and big spots, keeping us in the game. People trying to minimize it by saying all he did was score. When you score, it's just as important.
No, that's completely not what I said.
Oh, that's what it sounded like. He's trying to take he showed up scoring wise. That's it.
Right. That's completely not what I said.
Okay.
Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. I was pointing out the whole time that Miami was denying Jalen Brunson the ball, and we looked like 7th graders trying to advance the ball up the floor. I knew that. I pointed it out in real time. I say that right now. I say right now, the flaw on this team is that we don't have a secondary ball. You heard me say it. Y'all heard me say I've been wanting Mike Conley on this team all year. Not because Mike Conley's a star, but because of these situations right here. Right? I'm not knocking Brunson's offense, but let's not act like this dude was, all offense, all defense, all everything, all in the margins and all that. He did his thing. He was huge. He was clutch, scoring the basketball.
He was everything.
And in game six, he had like rebounds and assists. Right? But when we say the other team just didn't show up, man, I think that's just not fair.
They didn't show up, Freezy, the way we needed them to show up and the way they usually show up. It's very fair.
Okay.
It's very fair. You can't be an all-star, all-NBA type player in the regular season and not show up in the playoffs the way we need you to show up. And let me just make this caveat. I'm not saying Randle needed to score as much as he scored in the regular season. Because as I'm watching these playoffs, if you play that power forward and center position, you're operating in a smaller space. They can crowd you much more than they can as a guard bringing the ball up. There's different things they can do to make you less effective.
Right.
When you're playing a power forward and center position and you don't have that type of game like Giannis, basically, who you can say is a small forward.
Or Kevin Durant.
Or Kevin Durant. I get that. But there's other ways you can make an impact on the team if you're not scoring and shooting the ball well.
Right.
I've seen Randle dominate the boards. I've seen Randle hit his rotations. Forget the points. They playing you a certain way. They isolate you. I don't understand that isolating him on Bam either, Thibodeau.
Right.
I don't understand that because you don't have an advantage.
That's
I get
his
it.
offense, though. That's
Right.
Tibbs' offense.
Okay. I get that offensively. But there were other things Randle could have done to make an impact on this game, and it didn't happen. He was not engaged.
Right.
He was not.
Right. So for the record, I never mentioned Julius Randle's name.
Oh, but I am.
No. I get it. I got an axe to grind with Randle too. But right now I'm talking about Quickly, Grimes, and RJ. Those are the ones that I wanted to mention specifically.
Yeah. Okay.
That people say didn't show up. They showed up. They added.
RJ showed up.
They stepped up. I'm not even mentioning Randle. I'm with you on this thing with Randle, right? Don't get it. I'm with. If you even want to throw Mitchell Robinson in there too, I might be in there with you on Mitch also, right? But here's the thing: the Grimes, the Quicklies, the RJs. Man, Jimmy Butler averaged 37 points a game against Milwaukee in the previous series, right? And then he came into the series against the Knicks, and all of that, for the most part, went away.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
And they made a concerted effort to stop Jimmy Butler at the sacrifice of offense.
I don't know about that part, but I agree that their defense stepped up.
So what if Jalen Brunson would have committed totally to defense to stop Gabe Vincent, and his offense would have been sacrificed? Would you have said that then?
Listen, Grimes was 3 of 10, so that means he took 10 shots on when. Okay, so you tie it now. It's not like Game 5 when he guarded him for 48 minutes. So you trying to say that you can't hit not 1 or 2 shots because you got in Jimmy Butler?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay, because that's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is I get it that you're putting out a lot of energy on the defensive end, and I get it that's going to take away some from your offense. I get that.
Right.
But we just talking about a few shots here. Now listen, but I'm with you on Grimes and Quickly in this respect. This is Grimes' first time in the playoffs. It tells you something about how this roster was constructed, or maybe we wasn't expected to be here, that we even needed relying on Grimes, that we even needed his shooting in the playoffs. This is Quickly's first time in which we were relying on him in this role.
A major role, yeah.
And in a major role. So I agree with you. It happens. But the fact is, they didn't show up the way we needed them to, but there's reasons for it. And I think the Knicks have to, now that they know we're here, maybe they didn't know we would be here, but now that they know, you got to construct the roster in such a way that those guys are a little lower on the totem pole. You can't be going into a playoffs depending on, and I said this before the playoffs even start, when they lock down Randle and they lock down Brunson, who do we got to shoot the ball? We're relying on Quickly and Grimes. 2 guys, one who doesn't have playoff experience at all, and another who doesn't have experience in this role we're asking them to. It could go either way.
Right.
And that's just how the roster was constructed. So I agree with you on that. Can't get on them too much because this is their first time either here or in their role. I get that. And RJ Barrett, I thought played well.
Right.
RJ Barrett, I thought stepped up both offensively and defensively.
And defensively. Yeah. Against a team that absolutely dominated the number 1 seed in the East.
Yeah.
Right. And so while it'd be easy to say, well, I don't see what they did. They wasn't that special. Well, that same Miami Heat team was scoring in the 100s and the 110s on Milwaukee, who y'all say have a better defense and better players than the Knicks, right? So you
And
got to
Boston
give
too.
credit. Yeah, you got to give. Yes, you got to. So when I say RJ Grimes and Quickly's defense was great, and y'all out here sounded like haters, lemon lip suckers, talking about talking about the defense wasn't great. Relax. Go walk your dog or something. Give these kids some credit for something. Stop being a hater on everything. No matter what it is, no matter what the topic is, you say, well, Jalen Brunson was good. Well, it's always something. Give these kids some credit, man. Relax. I hear like, well, I don't see what RJ defense or I don't see what Grimes defense. Come on, man, relax. These dudes last night, y'all saw that same Miami Heat team put up 100 and something points on a supposedly great defense in Boston. And we don't want to give Grimes credit. We don't want to give Quickly credit. Come on, bro. These conversations be getting weird to me.
We could give them credit on the defensive end, though, but but you still got to call. You got to call all of it, though.
Yeah,
You got to call all of it.
But what I'm getting at with these kids, you listen. We know these kids aren't ready. Okay. We know they ain't ready. You know what I'm saying? So to judge them as if they're 26 is ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? We are cats is out here eating black licorice and then saying Grimes should have been 10 to 20 from the field. Grimes should have knocked down 8 3-pointers. Relax.
Yeah, they're not ready. And so as much as we and this is the point I'm trying to make about Tibbs and his schemes, I'm not arguing about that. They could be better. But if IQ and Grimes was better, we're in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Right. But understand it. Okay. Listen, I'm not disputing that, Queen Bee. I'm with you. If Grimes, RJ, and Quickly were better, we probably advance, right? But if they were better overall, we may not have even been the 5th seed, right? There's a whole lot of stuff to take into account. We're the 5th seed because we are where we are because we are who we are, right? We are a very young NBA team. Don't let Evan Fournier and Derrick Rose's age on the roster skew the fact that this team the average age of the rotation is 24. And that's because Brunson and Randle and Mitch, Grimes is 22, 23. I mean, come on. RJ is 22. RJ be 23 in June. You know what I'm saying? We playing against teams that are 25, 26 with tons of playoff experience. And the fact that we were in a fight with them lets us know that these kids stepped up, man. Queen Bee, I ain't gonna lie. I've been reading comments in the comment section for about a week, right? And we nitpick other stuff. We nitpick some stuff, and then we don't want to hear the truth about other stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, the kids are young and they're flawed. They need experience. Why you, Uncle Freezy? Why you always picking on the kids? What? Because I said the kids are young and they have flaws. They don't have experience. That's picking on them. Okay. I don't know what world you exist in, but I'm not getting kindergartners to navigate an airplane. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? Things don't work like that. You get better at stuff over time as you gain experience. You got to live these things. You got to be in these things. Like these young kids took this failure, right? I'm probably don't know how to take it, right? But they'll store it. They'll get better, and they'll be better next season, right? But
if they're here,
if they're here,
because when you look at you got to ask yourself the question. Everybody's talking about bringing in shooters, which is what I'm saying. But where are you bringing them in at? We got a 9-man rotation.
Yeah, before we get to that part, can we get to a Bash and Randle section? Chat, can we interject a Bash Julius Randle section right here? I want to chat. Listen, can Queen Bee, you know who Julius Randle's #1 supporter is, right? Me.
You and Tony Crow.
Me. Right. Oh, yeah. Me and Tony Crow. Right. Okay. All right. So here's the thing. No matter how much I support Julius Randle, there is a disturbing trend. Anytime the game gets too big, or anytime the game gets big at all, Julius Randle tends to disappear. And not only disappear, but be a detriment to our team, right? Not getting back on defense. Pull up contested threes in the corner over the other team's two tallest men. You know what I'm saying? You're like, Randall, you shooting the contested three over a power forward and a center with 18 seconds left on the shot clock? I mean, you grabbing the rebound. You're not even looking at Brunson. You're not even looking at RJ. RJ done scored 6 in a row. You get the rebound and you ice out RJ. This is a disturbing trend to me. I love Randall, and this is all basketball, by the way. This is nothing Randall personal life. None of that. None of this. This is just me and Randall on the court. Randall shrinks in these major moments, and it's concerning to me.
Right.
It's some of it is him being selfish, and you can see the selfish plays. Right. Some of it is ego driven. Like some of it is like, oh, you got him guarding me, I got to take him, as opposed to playing the team game. Right. I think if you are the Knicks, you have to consider all options when improving this team, and that's everybody except Jalen Brunson. Right now, with that said, do you really want to gut this roster just because you have Jalen Brunson?
Yeah. When you just crossed over, because there's no guarantees that. Yeah. I mean, listen, there's no guarantees if you stay in pat that you're going to go further next season. And you got to be careful about making so many changes at one time, because that can backfire as well. I think it's a tough. I think this is going to be a tough off season. I think if you can't make changes that's going to make you better, you stand pat. Like, don't just be out there making moves just to make moves. But if it's a move that's going to make your team better, yeah, you do it.
I'm the Randall thing. Okay, for this generation, I think Julius Randle is the second best thing that ever happened to the Knicks for this generation. For this iteration of the Knicks, I think Jalen Brunson is the best thing to happen to the Knicks, right? Julius Randle is the second best thing. And Julius Randle was probably the best thing to happen to the Knicks before Jalen Brunson got here. Right? But my thing is can Julius Randle be a key contributor to a championship team?
I think he can, but you got to move him down the totem pole a little bit. Will he accept that? If you bring in another go-to guy, say he's a wing, will Randle be okay just wait until the ball gets to him? Will he be okay rebounding? And because this is the thing, if you're not that second option and your usage goes down, we're going to expect a little more as far as defense. Now, what's the excuse? Oh, I'm putting out so much on offense that defensively, what's the excuse then? So I think he can be a contributing piece on a championship team. I think he can be. Just what usage are we talking? If that's not being too technical.
This is, you remember in the very beginning where I said I had a lot of complicated thoughts. This is the reason why things get complicated, right? Because at what point do you start sacrificing talent for chemistry? Right. But right, just because you put a bunch of talent on a roster doesn't mean it's going to
Right.
win either. I'm looking
Right.
at Philadelphia. They have
Right.
a bunch of talent, and they left the playoffs in the same round we did, and we got here because of chemistry.
Right.
So it's complicated.
Right.
It's complicated, and the thing is also is Jalen Brunson live in that area of scoring 40 points a game or 37 points a game in playoff series? You know what I'm saying? And you just getting, or do you go out and get a guy better than Jalen Brunson? And now Jalen Brunson is your number two. You know what I'm saying? So how do you get a number? So how do you go out and get a number one that is that far better than Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle?
I don't know if they have to be that much better than Brunson. They could be better than Brunson, or they could be right there. They could be right there with Brunson. The thing is, you got to have two stars on your team. You got to have two go-to players that you know you can count on game in and game out. That's at the top of the scouting report that teams have to game plan for, and that's going to open up shots for other players.
If you so the reason why I said it is this, that more better than Jalen Brunson is, in my mind. Mm-hmm. If you are spending number one option assets,
I see.
Okay. There can be no question that he's the number one guy when he come here. I don't want to spend a kit and caboodle. Every time I say that, I laugh internally, y'all. Because I ain't never seen a kit and a caboodle. I don't even know what caboodle is, right? But every time, but the thing is do you want to clear the cupboard of all your assets to go get the whoever guy? What guy would fit? What wing player would fit for us? I don't know if there's a wing out there that would fit for us.
It's gonna be tough. But listen,
it'll be duplicity somewhere. Because say for instance, if it's SGA. Right. So now you have somebody in tandem with Jalen Brunson in the backcourt. Right. So now you have your point guard and your two guard locked up. SGA at the 1, Jalen Brunson at the 2. Right. And it's got to be that way because SGA is a better facilitator than Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson is a better scorer at the point than a lot of people. But the facilitation thing of that, you know what I'm saying? And that's not a knock on him. That's just his game, by the way, is what I'm saying. Right? But if you do that, now you're talking about RJ, Grimes, Quickly, Obi, first-round picks. All of them are gone.
I don't know if it's going to take all of that, though, for SGA. You think?
Yes, because he's 25. He's averaging 31 points a game, and he's doing it on 50% shooting from the floor. And he's a great defender. I didn't even know he was
Brunson.
Yeah, I didn't even know he was a great defender. My knock on him was I always thought he was a bad defender, and people sending me stuff. No, he's not. Look at these numbers. Look at these numbers. Look at these numbers. Look at these. You know what I'm saying? I always thought he was a bad defender because, for one thing, I rarely watch him, right? But people say he's a great defender. That's his reputation, right? And so if you do that, all your draft picks are gone, right? Because OKC doesn't necessarily want to get rid of them, but say that's the price of doing business is a bunch of draft picks and a bunch of young players, right? I mean, he's got to be better. There can't be a question that he's better than Brunson. In crunch time, there can't be a who's going to take the final shot. Nah. You paying those type prices, you got to get a number one guy.
I'm not sure about that. Listen, if we just got Brunson on the cheap, because if we saw this Brunson on another team and we was trying to get him, we would have to give up those assets for him too.
Right.
Right. So
Right.
it's just I think we still don't see Brunson that way. Oh, this guy got to be way better than Brunson. I don't think they have to be way better than Brunson. Brunson is really, really good.
Brunson is great. Brunson's a superstar, and Knicks
Super
fans.
is kind of. You don't think Super is? I think he's a star. You don't think Super is a little? No.
Nope. Jalen Brunson's a superstar, and we need to get used to saying it, because we as Knicks fans, we're like, yeah, such and such is a superstar, but then our guys like, yeah, he all right.
No, I think he's a star, a superstar. So if he's a superstar, then you don't need another superstar. You just need a star.
Now, superstars win in this league, though, boss.
But do you need two superstars?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. Yes. I mean, look. I mean, yeah. I think you gotta have it. I think the Jimmy Butler Miami Heat thing is an outlier. Just throw that away. Don't even. Yeah. That's not even a sustainable blueprint for anybody else. They have a niche that they do well.
Yeah.
They listen. Congratulations to Miami. Y'all have a good thing going on. I'm not knocking y'all, but I'm not trying to build a franchise based on that blueprint. Right. Now the Boston blueprint, where they have two superstars, that's the blueprint that I'm trying to build my thing on. The Lakers have two superstars in Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Yes, I could. Yes, I can build my thing around that. Right. I mean, the thing in Denver, where they have a generational megastar at a position that generally doesn't have good players, you can't build it. No, you're not going to find. I don't care how far and wide you look, you're not going to find another Jokic anywhere. He's just that type of guy, right? If you're the Knicks, the first thing we should admit is Randle is a star, but he's reached his ceiling. Right? He's reached his ceiling. Randle is a star, but he's reached his ceiling. I don't think Randle can ever become a superstar unless you bring a coach in that's gonna innovate offensively, and we don't have that, right? But the thing is Jalen Brunson, despite what we're doing offensively, can create his own shot, because that's not offense what he's doing. He's just creating his own shot. He's excellent at creating his own shot, right? So if we go out and get a guy, in my mind, you can't go out and get another big, right? You can't have an offense that's big centric in a wing guard era. That's crazy talk.
And that's why I'm not for Embiid. And it's not like I don't like
Anthony Towns or DeAndre Ayton. None of them.
You need. I'm starting to agree with you. You need a wing, because you can easily take those guys out of the game because they just operate in such a small area of the floor. It's just easy to crowd those guys.
Right. Because think about it. If you think we're frustrated with Julius Randle right now, can you imagine our frustration with Julius Randle and Joel Embiid getting schemed out? Mm-hmm. Oh my! We'd be jumping out of windows.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so in my opinion, the fix for this team is backcourt creation. We need a backcourt creator that can create open looks for RJ and Randle and Mitch. Not that Brunson is a bad option. Brunson is an excellent option. But his gift, his superpower is creating shots for himself, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Because offense is ultimately offense is offense. Right?
But he creates for others too. He can't create. But listen, he's not going to be that one. Huh?
Which one is he elite at? Creating shots for himself or creating shots for others?
Elite at creating. Yes. That doesn't mean he can't create shots for others, but he is elite at creating shots for himself.
Yeah, that's what I said though.
Yeah, no doubt. But when he's doubled and what have you, he looks for other people. We just got to get guys that can knock it down. But listen, either 2 or 3, and I don't really know where they are. We might have to get somebody like we did with Brunson on the come up. They not there yet, but we think they're gonna cross over soon because I don't really see a 2 or 3 that's available. That's a star or a superstar right now.
Right.
I don't.
But who is it? I have you got anybody?
I would love Booker on this team if we can. He's not available, but I would love Booker on with Brunson. Who else? Everybody else is long in the tooth. Durant is long in the tooth. Braun is long in the tooth. I would love Giannis. I don't think we're gonna get him. I mean, he plays that 4 position, but he can handle the ball. He could play out, as well. But he's not available. So,
right. What would you do with Randle if you get Giannis?
Randle would have to go in that trade if possible, or in another trade.
Okay. Yeah, I like the wing scenario thing. My only thing is Tibbs, and that Tom Thibodeau, when Tom Thibodeau gets an elite point guard, superstar point guard, he'll let them do whatever they want to do, and I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all. I like when Tibbs gets a point guard of this caliber that can score and do these type of things. I admire Tibbs for letting his point guards have all the creativity in the world. You know what I'm saying? I see, and it's not just a Derrick Rose and Brunson thing. When a Tom Thibodeau point guard gets on a heater, man, I saw him give the keys to Nate Robinson one time. I saw Nate Robinson carry the Bulls one time in the playoffs for long stretches. You know what I'm saying? My thing is if we get, I think we need wing players, but I don't know if Tom Thibodeau is going to play them in a offensive creation, scoring type traditional role. I think Tibbs will use them in a stormtroopers role where he'll get a bunch of them and then he just smothers team defensively and just asks them to knock down threes. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I don't think he'll turn his wing into Darth Vader. He just have an army of stormtroopers with them, like have like 3 or 4 of them, right? And it's hard. I don't know. And chat, I just used a Star Wars reference. I'm not even a Star Wars fan. I'm an MCU fan, but whatever. But Queen Bee, if we even get a wing player, do you see one out there that's going to be better than Randle and Brunson that we can bring in here?
Yes, because this is the thing. The player may not even be okay. All right, I'm looking at it 2 separate things. As far as a star is concerned, I don't see one that's going to be available. But there are plenty of players in the league better than Brunson and Randle, right? Okay. But will they be available? That becomes the question. But individually, you may be able to get somebody that may not be as good as Randle, but be a better fit for this team and elevate this team, and the team goes further.
Okay.
That's possible. That's possible as well. And I just want to say this about Randle. In my opinion, he's the most talented player on this team.
Physically gifted, right?
I've seen Randle when he's in his bag offensively. He's aggressive defensively, and I'm not talking about on every single possession because I know he carries a load. But he's engaged defensively, and he's on them boards. He's one of the best players in this league.
Right there that you just said, is what separates the men from the boys. When Randle is rebounding, that is the thing I have been saying since February. Because when Josh Hart got here, Randle's rebounds went down and down and down and down and down. And I think it's because he just stopped going because he figured Josh Hart is here. You know what I'm saying?
That aggressiveness gets his game going.
But that right there, what you said, jackpot. Jackpot. Yeah.
There, when Randle is in his bag in those three areas, you can feel the energy coming off of his body.
When he's
feel
aggressive.
It through the screen.
Yes.
That Randle is one of the best players in the league.
That right there. Yep.
He doesn't live. I'm not saying that he has to live there statistically. He doesn't live there energetically. If he lived there energetically, the Knicks are a different team. Period.
Yeah, right. Because when Randle is rebounding and BSing, it's like you can feel it. You know what I'm saying? It gets him going. That is what, okay. That right there is what okay. When Randle is not that rebounding, MBSing, energetic guy, when you see he becomes something else. He becomes the dude selling for threes on the perimeter.
He becomes Papa without the spinach.
Yes.
He just looks regular.
He's just regular, man. He's just regular, man. That's what that right there was my thing about Randle and in the second half of the season. When he is not beast, he's just a guy. That's what we need. Okay. So for those of y'all,
live there? Can he live there? We need him to live there. And I'm not talking statistically, energetically. We need him to live in beast mode.
Right. No, I agree with you on listen, I'm with you on listen. I'm just gonna sit back and fold my arms. I ain't gonna say nothing. No, because I agree. Because I agree. I ain't got nothing else to say.
That's a different Randle, and we've seen it. But can he live? Can he live there? And I think that edge is also him going after the officials. We didn't see that in this series. You got it. When he's playing with that edge, some players, they got to be a little cray. They just play better that way.
Right.
They play better on the edge. And when you take that away from them, you take away a lot. Quick need to come. He just need to pull up from the logo twice during the season. I think that would have loosened them up. Right. Some guys just trying to be with it. Nah, you just got to loosen up. You got to do you.
Right. I agree with you because I have this thing, right? My belief is that an enforcer can't lead your team to a championship, right? You didn't see it with Charles Barkley. You didn't see it with a bunch of guys that live on Xavier McDaniels. Remember Xavier McDaniels? Remember him with the Sonics?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, you remember Orlando Woolridge with the Bulls?
Yeah. Oh, man.
Dudes with the screw loose. You know what I'm saying? So it's this thing where enforcers they're not built for the ascension of the team, but their energy makes everybody around them better, and people gravitate towards it, right? And so that's the thing I think that's missing with Randle. Randle in the second half of the season, I don't want to number y'all to death, but Randle was averaging like 11 and a half rebounds or something crazy, like almost 12 rebounds a game, right? And Josh Hart came here, and I'm not saying Josh Hart stole rebounds from him. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is Julius Randle stopped going to the boards, and then you saw the decline in one thing and the improvement. And when I say improvement, I don't mean improvement in a sense of he got better, but I'm saying more. Randle took more, basically he stopped rebounding and shot more threes. Is basically what I'm getting at. Right. Is that the Randle we need?
Right.
And for those Randle haters or those Randle lovers, it's clear when Randle is going to the boards, he's special. When Randle not going to the boards, when Randle is just a face up four.
Right. No.
Yeah.
Now that is what I will say. Maybe his ankle hampered him in terms of getting in there and getting up on them boards, because there was a stretch, particularly when Mitch was out with the injury, he was dominating the boards because he needed to,
Right.
and he was able
Right.
to do it.
Right. But you know that's the dangerous catch-22. I mentioned this on Knicks Freestyle yesterday. That that it's the catch-22, right? Of Randall played injured. Like I think he got injured on that Jared Allen play. Remember the Jared Allen play
Yeah,
and with
yeah,
Jared?
yeah,
Yeah, I think he got injured there, right? And the reason why I say that, y'all, is because I know something about being injured. I know something about, you know what I'm saying, getting hurt, falling, either falling or getting knocked down. I know something about that. Falling down is not easy, right? On your body, right? My thing is Randall on the bad ankle, he dunked on Jared Allen, and Jared Allen made him come down on his hip and wrist,
yeah,
right? Soon as I saw that, I was like, he hurt. Because I don't care how tough you are, right? I don't care how tough you are. When you fall down on your hip bone, your back, your wrist, all of that stuff from out the air, you're gonna get hurt. And I know it's 1,000 people in the chat, and probably about I don't know 2 or 3,000 people that'll watch this, and they'll be like, "Well, but he said he was all right." Right? We say a lot of things. We say, Queen B, you ever got knocked? You play basketball. You ever got knocked out of the air and fell?
yeah, sure. Yeah. I don't
Right.
know about the air because I couldn't get up, but yeah, going up for going up for a rebound, either getting undercut or tripping over the half court line. Yeah,
Yeah. I got no lie. You don't lie, right? People laugh. They're like, man, Uncle Freezy look funny. So I used to box, right? This dude hit me so hard, right? I was like dazed, and I fell. The fall on the mat hurt more than the punch in the face, right? So I'm like, how does that happen? When you fall and you can't protect yourself, your body just hitting it hurts. It just hurts, man. And so I think Randall was hurt then, but ultimately, what I'm getting at is this: if Randall, with these injuries, maybe the ankle, maybe that fall, would have missed 2 or 3 games against the Heat series, cats would have been all over Randall. He played through the injuries that we think he might have had, and cats are all over Randall. And I was telling Free Keith this yesterday. Yo, in certain situations, bro, is a star of the Knicks, you can't win, right? You're gonna get criticized if you get hurt and don't play. People gonna call you Jeremy Lin, right? But then if you get hurt and you do play, and or if we think if there is the possibility of you being hurt, right, and you try to gut your way through it, and you don't perform or whatever, people are still going to criticize you, right? It's one of them things. Like I personally think Randall was hurt, and he played through all the energy, all those things, because he cared so much about winning for the New York Knicks. I think it's the reason why he have meltdowns, because he wants to win here, and it's hard winning in New York, man. Melo didn't do it. Bernard King didn't do it. Pat Ewing didn't do it. It's hard winning here. And people undersell how hard it is to win a championship, a basketball championship in New York. Brooklyn had several iterations of star-studded teams, and they have not won a championship. And the Knicks do it with 1 or 2 stars and can't do it. And so we undersell how hard it is. People say, man, I won a championship in my lifetime. Well, here's the thing about that. That's not guaranteed. because we have lofty expectations and we're quick to criticize. So stars don't want to come here. So Randle is here taking the brunt of all these different things. You know what I'm saying? He's here taking the brunt of all these different things. And it's almost to a point where we may be looking to like drive cats away. And I'm Randle #1 supporter. Tony Crow might be second. Right. I did a tribute video to Randle, and I was gonna and I put it on Twitter, and I was gonna tag Randle and them in it. But by the time I put the video up and came back to it to tag them in it, it was like 30 comments, all of them criticizing Randle. So I couldn't even put tag Randle people in it. You know what I'm saying? So, it's like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. When it comes to Randle, but ultimately, and I know I kind of got off on a tangent.
Those who came in late, they
huh?
don't see those who came in late don't see that you gave Randle some smoke. They just see him in this part of it.
Yeah. They don't. Sometimes they think we can't be fair. We can be fair. We could be fair. I called Jalen Brunson on site. I called him a Smurf on site. So Queen Bee and I were together rocking a Friday night. She was like, "What do you think about Brunson?" I think he's a Smurf. And right now, I'm saying that man, it may be one of the greatest offensive point guards the Knicks have ever had. I think Jalen Brunson's a superstar. Right, unquestioned. I think he's I think Jalen Brunson in the moments. Like in the big moments, is better than Trae Young. You know what I'm saying? I think in the as a matter of fact, I'm gonna say, and it's gonna sound like the craziest thing you guys have ever heard, but right now, today, I think he's better than Steph Curry. And I know that sounds. People look at me like, "Oh man, Uncle Freezy crazy." I'm talking about today. I'm talking about right now, right? I'm not talking about historically or comparing their resumes. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying right now, I think he's better than Damian Lillard. I think he's better than Steph Curry. I think he's better than Trae Young. Right? The dude is legit a superstar.
I think Steph Curry is pushing it. I mean, he's still good. His team is just,
Does one have to be bad for the other to be good?
No. But Steph Curry put up 50 points in an elimination game.
Yeah.
I know.
Steph Curry, I think Steph Curry is the greatest point guard ever, right? That's a separate conversation, right? But I think today, Jalen Brunson has to be in that cat. Jalen Brunson has to be in that discussion. If you're a Knicks fan and you watched Jalen Brunson and you don't want to rank, I have some people say, Jalen Brunson might be a top 10 point guard. What? Jalen Brunson might be a top 10 point guard? I don't know. I don't know. All right, so Queen Bee, listen, I got one other thing I want to ask you before we wrap up and before we get. How far are you willing to go to get the star to go with Jalen Brunson? How far are you willing to go?
If it actually is a star, very far.
And matter of fact, the star
very far.
The star that you want, whoever the star is that you want, how far are you willing to go to get him?
I mean, listen, you gotta. I'm not willing to go as far as some teams do, where you have 2 stars and everybody else is minimum players. I'm not ready to go that far. But I'm willing to go pretty far. Okay. I'm willing to go pretty far, but I don't know if I'm ready to go that, that far. I'm willing to give up. To me, everybody is on the table but Brunson. Everybody is on the table but Brunson. I don't have whoever they want to trade, however many draft picks they want to trade, that's fine. But I just don't want to have 2 stars, 2 superstars, and everybody else is minimum players.
I don't personally. I don't want to go far at all. I don't think that star is out there. I don't think the star that suits us, that fits us, is out there. The only star I think that may be out there, that fits what we need right now is an SGA type player. A guy a do-it-all backcourt guy with the flexibility to defend on the wing, be a primary ball handler, be a good defender, be a complementary piece, but also be a primary piece at the same time. Be the primary, but allow others to display their skills and can operate on the boundaries and also impact the game, right? Because here's the thing. If we say Devin Booker, can Devin Booker do other things like rebound and defend and screen and all that stuff while Jalen Brunson is cooking? Can you defend?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Can you depend on Devin Booker to do that and be that off ball in those moments when Jalen Brunson is cooking, when Julius Randle is cooking? I don't think so.
Booker is, in my opinion, Booker is better than SGA. He's more proven. So we could talk about skill sets all we want. Booker is more proven than SGA right now.
Okay.
And I get what he did on Oklahoma City.
Right.
And I think, he will be a star if he's not one already.
Right.
But Booker is more proven. He's played in the playoffs. He's still young. We know what he can do in the playoffs. We got to be careful with bringing in players who we hope can function in the playoff. But the thing about it is there's no way of knowing until we get there. So I'm just saying we got to be extra careful with bringing in players who haven't been to the playoffs yet. That's all I'm saying. I get it. SGA is first team All NBA, but those are people voting. I'm talking about what I see in high leverage games, and I've seen Booker in high leverage games.
Yeah, Devin Booker by himself is a lottery type cat, right? SGA by himself got Oklahoma City with less talent to the playoffs, right? And the SGA being All NBA first team, I didn't want to go there on that part. That's not what I'm. That's not what I'm getting at. I'm talking about, like, is there a guy out there that can be the number one when we need him to be the number one, but also be the number 2 or 3 when your 2 and 3 are cooking?
I don't know who's out there, Freezy. That's a hard question because I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. But that's the reason why I said that. But that's the reason why I said that I don't know if that star is out there. That's the reason.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
the reason why I said that.
Right.
So
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, to answer your question, if the star is not out there, we stand pat. But if the star is out there, I'm willing to go really far to get him. To answer your question, just not far enough where the only thing you have left is minimum players to fill out the roster.
Okay. So I'm gonna do the super chats real quick, and then you know what I'm saying, we can wrap, I guess.
Yes.
Justin
my dog is barking.
Yeah, and my phone is blowing up. But you see me keep looking at the screen like I'm getting. But Justo11, thank you for the generous contribution. Justin11 says third pick should be a positive option only for Amen or Scoot. I think Johnny B coaches these guards and get them on another level, like Donovan Mitchell, Dame, and CJ. I agree with that. That's one that we'll talk about that tonight, though, on the night show. Aunt T, thank you for the generous contribution. Shout out to the members of the channel. And Aunt T says, there's plenty wrong. Tibbs let a bunch of undrafted bums play a zone for 6 games straight instead of forcing non-athletes to guard real athletes. Aunt T, you my man. Aunt T throwing gas on the fire. Aunt T also says, and shout out to the members, man. Thank you for the generous contribution. Aunt T says RJ couldn't knock down shots when it was clearly Spoelstra's strategy to help off of him. RJ choked too. And to the hip hop legend, Jay Boogie in the building. Jay Boogie says the next podcast host that doesn't mention Randle on his show, I'm gonna give $100 super chat. Can't be Randle every day. It's a lot we could talk about. Hey, bro. Right.
Well, if you was here in the beginning, Jay Boogie, you would have seen that we spent more than half the show talking about Tibbs and barely got to Randle.
Yeah. This thing about Randle is not Randle hate. Not from my perspective. It's not Randle hate. It's me pointing out some things. And one thing too is an entire community of people can't be wrong. They could be swayed. They could see certain things and have their opinions. But when you start hearing the same thing over and over again, there may be something to it. And you know, we try to speak the truth as we see it all the time, right? But even me, a staunch Randle supporter, saw Randle not being able to get back or not getting back and not showing energy on certain stuff. And you just can't deny that. Hey, Queen B, thank you for rocking with me.
Definitely appreciate you.
You got something you want to share with the people?
Yeah, tonight the Just Nicking It show, 9 to 9:30. Hopefully you subscribe to the channel and the notification button is on, so you'll be notified when I go live. Then also the Just Nicking It audio podcast, wherever you get your podcast, whatever streaming platform you use, you can go there right now and get my thoughts on what I think the Knicks should do next, and basically the question that I think should guide the front office decision making in this offseason and off seasons beyond, and that is, does this team as presently constructed have a championship ceiling? If you believe they have a championship ceiling, then I understand you letting them bake and marinate and grow to the team you think they're going to be. If you don't think this team has a championship ceiling, then there's work to be done. And spoiler alert, I don't think this has a championship ceiling. So wherever, go look for the Just Nicking It podcast and get my thoughts on that.
And Queen B and myself, we probably need to do better with that. What I'm gonna do is add the link to the homepage. That way, every time you click on the homepage, you just go right to it.
Right.
So
I gotta do better with that myself.
Yeah. That because what I find is the less homework I give out for y'all, the easier I make it for, and the easier I make it for busy people because we know y'all are busy is basically what I'm getting at. So the easier I make it for busy people, the better or the better product that we all get. So
no doubt.
Thank you, Queen B, for coming through, rocking with us. Chat, thank y'all for rocking with us during y'all lunch hour ish. Queen B tonight around 9ish or so. And the Knicks at Night podcast tonight at 11ish or so. but we definitely rocking to the morning hours. Thank y'all for rocking, y'all.